This is Infection, the survival podcast recorded live on Tuesday, November 7th, 2017, episode 147. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig, at Nicholas M. Craig is my Twitter. I am sick. InfectionPodcast.com is our website. Joining me, who is going to have to carry most of the show this evening, Brian with an I, middle I, Aldridge. Hey, Brian.
Yes. Hey, how you doing? If you want to find me on Twitter at Boise Computer, or you can go to my website, biteoftech.com. Of course, that's also with an I, so make sure you put that there. It's not a B-Y-T-E. Also, make sure you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com, where we, and as I said, our website, Nick and I have a wonderful website. And if you go to the right-hand side of it, it has, yeah, Nick actually has hatforsingle.com.
Hats with an S, plural, get it right.
And if you go to the right-hand side, there's a link to join our Discord. Also, you can join our Steam group for notifications of the live show starting and for Game of the Week. Also, there's links for our YouTube and our how to get to our Twitter, how to find our podcast, which is the audio-only forum of the show. So anywhere on there, infectionpodcast.com. And also, we have our show notes for each and every week that we do. And so you could go all the way back to episode 1, which was really light show notes. We used to just kind of wing it back then.
We don't wing it at all now. We're all completely prepared.
Well, we're winging it a lot now, but we have a lot of notes, and then sometimes stick to them.
Yeah.
So if you ever wonder, what video were they showing or what were they talking about during one of these shows, if you go to the website, click on that episode for that specific episode, and then you can go and see all the links that we're referring from when we do the live show. So check it out. It's a useful resource, and also it's a nice history, because then we remember what we talked about as well.
I need that. You know, it's so funny because I do. All joking aside, Brian does a hell of a job preparing the show notes. But throughout the week, I'm not going to speak for Brian. I'll speak for myself. Throughout the week, I'm constantly seeing stories popping up on either Reddit or people throwing stuff in Discord, and when it gets time to Tuesday, I don't remember what we talked about on the show last week, what I read this week, what we've already mentioned, what we haven't mentioned, and then Brian seems to hold us in line pretty good with that. So,
I try.
Yeah, absolutely, and you do a hell of a job. So, Brian, we've got some big news right off the gate here.
Yes,
the infection community has once again exceed our expectations. This isn't surprising. We went to PAX East in March. How much did we raise for PAX East? It was a significant amount of money. Like
$500.
I was more than that.
I don't remember.
It was. I thought it was like upper $600-700. It was a significant amount of money.
Something like that.
We went out to PAX East, had a great time, and hopefully we'll be doing that again coming up here in late 2018 at a different event. And we started our. We were called the Infection dedicated game server crowdsource campaign. What would you say, maybe 2 months ago?
Yeah, or at max 2 months ago.
Yeah, so
maybe been a little bit less than that.
So we started that about 2 months ago, and we had a couple of donations come in between last week's show, and this week's show. So Gadlaw on Friday tipped in $30 we were within $50, so we were at $350. He tipped in $30, get us within 20 of that. Unicorn Joe, of course, wanted more My Little Pony, so he threw in $5. And then Manstan coming in just a couple of hours ago,
also known as Deacon.
Yes, Deacon. Came in with $45 to push us over the threshold for our Infection dedicated game server. So thank you to everybody.
Yes.
The hunt for a server now will begin, and hopefully coming within the next couple of weeks, we'll have a server purchased.
I was looking at them today.
Perfect.
Kind of finding what we want to get, because I want to get the most machine for that amount of money. And Nick and I are probably going to pitch in we're gonna pitch in a little bit, I think.
Yeah, to make sure we'll get
just
something
to
nice.
beef it up a little bit extra, and then get it ordered and get it all hooked in. So
So I'm just gonna cycle through those
Yep, roll them through.
old three. Yeah. So if you want to, now so the plan with this is that fortunately for me and the rest of the community, we've been able to piggyback on Brian and the server that he has for like 2.5 years now. But unfortunately, it's taxing on his resources when
certain games.
Yeah, like
and the
Ark.
main issue is it's certain games. I because I use that for clients, I have to be really careful that I don't just crash out their systems.
There you go.
I have to be careful that I don't crash out, my server because we're running 7 days to die, which eats resources,
Yep.
or even Minecraft eats memory. Arc sometimes will have some reason something will kind of run away and it'll eat up resources. So I have to be really careful about what I'm hosting and keep a close eye on it. And then sometimes I have to take it down because for some reason that particular patch or the current version is just being not nice. So what I do with this is this will be dedicated hardware just for these games. And so if they eat up resources, I'll take a look at it and we'll see if we can tune them down as much as possible, but it's not going to affect any other services. We have a really, really nice fiber internet connection at this location that has an incredible low latency.
Unbelievable ping.
And
I mean, it's really
so
unbelievable.
The location is just the main reason we're doing this is because the internet is so good at this location that I couldn't pass it up. I was like, we got to put something here because it has better than a lot of data centers as far as responsive time. If you were to put a server in a data center, it has that or better.
I get better. The server location is geographically located near Brian. I get better ping time to him in Idaho, or I get better ping time to the server it's located in Idaho. To Idaho than I do to like even New York. I have like 27 milliseconds ping to that server. It's pretty unbelievable. So what we're gonna do is gonna go through. We'll find something. Yep. Brian will get it all configured and set up, and then we'll do a launch in here probably within the next couple weeks to a couple. We're not gonna jump on a bad deal. We'll wait to find something that fits our needs, but we'll have it within the next couple of weeks, and it hopefully will be up and running. Probably by the first of the year. That be fully up and operational. Have servers running and stuff. So
one thing is we're going to try to get it shipped. If we need to get it shipped before Black Friday, because the second the Black Friday happens, shipping just goes down the tubes. It may be a little bit better. UPS seemed to have picked it up a little bit recently, but I remember a couple of years ago when everything was like a week or two delayed, just because of Black Friday, because they were so behind on everything. And I think this year the economy is doing really well. I suspect that people are going to be buying a lot on Black Friday, probably online. So I'm thinking that we may have another year where the shipping's just crazy coming up all the way to Christmas. So I want to get it ordered the next 2 weeks so that they can ship it out before the crazy shipping happens. And then that way we can get it in and it'll be up within a week of when we get it. I'll do some tests, make sure the hardware is good, and then take it down to that location once it's ready. But it usually doesn't take me very long. So
now with that, obviously we'll be looking for we'll probably next week on the show we'll come up with we'll do like a straw poll or like a Google form post of all the different servers that we want to put up, and we'll just let you'll get to choose 3 or something. And then we'll pick the top 3.
Yeah, we'll do about 3. And the nice thing about this is if we want to do a Windows server, we can run a VM that has Windows on it, and then we'll be able to run some games that we weren't able to run before, or ones that I had to run from my house.
The Forest.
Which, like the Forest. We could actually run it and run a dedicated, because we haven't really been able to experience that, because the Forest is a really good game.
Very good game.
Has a lot of stuff that we haven't really experienced just because of the way the server works. But if we could throw a dedicated on there, people could go on and play throughout the day, and it would just fit a lot more of our play schedule of how we do it. So this will be nice. And I want to get one that, like I was looking at one today that has 128 gigs of RAM. So, we should be able to give a decent amount of memory to each game. And then the processor is mostly based on usage. Is sometimes memory will sit there and be used up regardless of whether someone's on there or not. Just a lot of times that's how it works. The game process will eat up memory, but usually the CPU is determined on usage. So as long as we don't have every single server full, we should be good. Because I can get a dual processor, like 6-core, which is 12 cores, which I think would work really well for what we're doing, just because each of those processes would be spread out. And it should, I don't know. I think we could do 3 to maybe 4 games depending on what it is.
Yeah, there you
We'll
go.
see.
So we will have well, hopefully we'll have it up coming up here in a couple of weeks. We'll let everybody decide what yes, that's a tip of the week, server talk with Brian. We'll let people decide what they want, and we could also be able to host like other cool little like web apps and stuff that may assist gaming. I don't know. There's a whole bunch of little services and stuff that we could also run. So if you've got any recommendations or suggestions for games or services, whatever it may be, that would be useful for the community, email us contact@infectionpodcast.com. And again, thanks to everybody that made this possible. We'll get it up and ready to go. So there we go.
Very good.
Cool.
All right. So, and one thing I wanted to mention, next week for our game of the week, we have H1Z1 on the slate.
Won't be there.
So, and so we haven't played that for a while as a group.
I'm just kidding. Yeah.
Well, you may be there.
No, well, there's an announcement with game of the week as well. Would you like to announce that before you?
What is the announcement? Oh, yeah. It's okay. So we're doing it an hour earlier.
Prepared. We're only prepared on this podcast. It's all preparation. We know exactly what we're going to talk about.
He likes to throw it at me. Like, so there's one thing we were going to talk about, the super secret. What is it, Brian?
I knew what it was. So, you asked me for permission to do it. So
you throw me a little bit.
Oh.
I was like, is there something we discussed that we have?
We're canceling game of the week. Everybody have their Friday nights back. Enjoy.
So what we're doing is moving it 1 hour earlier because we have people over in Europe and we have Joe over in Australia. And for them, like in Europe, I think it's like 4 a.m. when we're doing our game of the week, which I wouldn't be up at 4 a.m. That's like I'm in bed nowadays, no matter what, by 4 a.m. We were asleep. I was asleep by 4 a.m. my time. So, and so that's something where if moving it an hour earlier, like that way, they'll be at least be able to go to bed by 4 because it's like around 2 to 4 a.m. and so they're just staying up for a late night.
And now for people on the East Coast, I'm going to assume this isn't going to affect a lot because we typically will play until 10 or 11 anyway. So it'll probably so
that's 8 o'clock, right? 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock Eastern, yes. So 8 p.m. Eastern will be the new time for game of the week. We'll give that a try. I hope we're trying to as best to accommodate. The problem is we can't really move it up any earlier than that because then the West Coast is completely shut out.
Because they're not out from work by then. So
exactly.
Because that starts at 5 o'clock West Coast, which a lot of people will get home a little bit early on Fridays from work. So I think that'll be a nice balance.
Absolutely. So we are game of the week will be happening 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be playing H1Z1 King of the Kill. Yeah, there you go, Walker. Just everybody moved to Idaho. Problem solved. No time zones. So everybody's just living on the same time, even though the sun rises and sets at different points.
Come to Idaho. It's a great place.
Yeah, well, we're fully aware. I was with you for 3 days at PAX. I'm fully aware how great Idaho is. So 8 p.m. Eastern, we're playing H1Z1 King of the Kill. I think I recommended this because we have just not played this game in what feels like an eternity. So we'll give that a try.
Once in a while, I'll log in just to kind of play a little bit, just to kind of get my feet wet with it. But we haven't been playing it.
As Greenman says,
we'll be talking about it a little bit today.
This is the biggest day in Infection podcast history right here. I mean, it's just it really is.
Yep, things are going great. Actually, so do we want to? There's something. Can we talk about H1Z1 for a little bit?
I mean, it's your show, Mr. Host. We can talk about whatever you'd like.
All right. So there's something.
Do I need to get the triggered lower third ready or anything? Or you're going to be able to control yourself today? I'm
trying to. Okay, I'm going to try to keep it cool. But today, I don't know if you noticed, the Humble Bundle Monthly this month is H1Z1. And so for the $15 monthly subscription, the main game on that is is H1Z1, and then it comes with 2 crates, 2 of the Trickster crates.
Woo!
And so every single, like I've gone around to all the places where Humble Bundle has posted this, and for the comments on all of them, it's just everybody saying this game sucks. I'm skipping this month. I'm canceling my subscription. Like there's hundreds of comments, and I just got to think to myself, like, what is Humble Bundle got to be thinking? They're like, we made a big mistake. Like they've got statistics over there. I paused my subscription for this. I think a lot of other people have, and so the person that is the community manager for Humble Bundle on Facebook does a live stream whenever they announce the next game for Humble Bundle.
Okay.
So what she does is she streams playing the game. She announces it and then she plays the game. So
Okay.
she announced it and then played some H1Z1. And so there's an image here of her when she goes in to play the game, announces it, and then goes to play it. And so if you could pull this up, do you notice anything odd about this?
Let me zoom it out. Yes, there is one person in the lobby in the match. There is 14 players in the game, and the match is starting.
So it started like a second before this. There was 15. One person quit.
Okay.
This is not on the test server.
No, this is a solo NA
She
West.
sat in there and waited, and it took like 5 to 10 minutes to be able to get to 15 players.
It looks like she'd been live looking at the scale. Look, this is like she was live for what looks to be like 15 or 20 minutes.
No, this was her announcing. Like this is
okay.
her going into the game. Yeah. So she announced it. She went and they had bought a bunch of skins and stuff.
Gotcha.
And so she was going through all that. And so this is her going into the first game. And it took she's running around the lobby for the longest time because the thing won't start because it's got 5 people in it, 6 people in it. Finally, it got to 15. It hit the time limit of how long it waits before it just automatically queues the game. So she's in a game with 14 other people or 13 other people because she's the 14th, right? And she gets second place, never plays this game because there's just so few people in the game overall. That tells you the state. This is West Coast. This is West Coast solo. This is the main West Coast. She's on West Coast Live.
Yeah, NA West.
And they could barely they couldn't fill it. It's 14 people in there total. What's going on with the game? This is the middle of the day.
I mean, you got to think somebody from China's got to be playing on the West Coast, right?
No, but the thing is that they have the ping restrictions now.
Yeah, I don't think that's stopping it.
No, because Joe's tried. Like Joe can't play with us on this.
Who knows?
That's the thing is because of the ping restriction, like they can't play on West Coast, and so that's why they're this dead because the people playing are playing on Asia servers now because they're forced to.
Now, okay,
because they can't get here with a high enough ping.
Now, Brian,
I'm
going to play devil's advocate here. Is it possible that this is just a weird fluke game where it was not allowing new players in? Is there a possibility?
No, because she did 3 games. She did 3 games in a row, and they were all like this.
Okay, so then there's just a massive issue with the game, is what you're telling me.
I'm just saying that there's people aren't playing it, at least not on West Coast, not in the United States. There's not enough to keep all the rooms full. That shows you how few people. When we look at the numbers at the end of the show for the concurrent players, I bet you almost all of those are in Asia.
I bet you a significant amount of them are. Yes,
the United States is barely able to fill servers.
Well, it's an interesting interesting statement that you're making. Now, you know what will be a good test will be to watch some Twitch streamers this week, see what their deal is.
See how long they have to wait.
Honest to God, I haven't launched the game in any recent time. Right, we've got a couple people loading up the game in chat. I'd be curious to say it's a bad time to test now. It is prime time. People would be playing. So this is interesting though. Now back to your initial point. You paused your Humble Bundle subscription for this month? Did I hear you correctly?
Yeah, I'm skipping this month because I don't want another H1Z1, and it's not worth it to me. I don't want the crates. I could care less about the skins. I'm not that for me, and I don't want to support it. Like I'm over the company. Like I'm
Now-
over it. And so I don't want to show support for them
Now
personally.
the bigger issue that has been brought up with this is that this is going to circulate tens, if not hundreds of thousands of more keys into the wild, which will potentially be used by
because
hackers.
you'll have these key sellers. You'll have people that go to G2A and all that. They're going to buy a ton of these. So first of all, they have all these keys, plus whatever games are bundled with it after this as well. Plus they have all these crates, which is going to saturate the skin market once again. So it's going to lower the price of skins even more because they're going to have a huge fluctuation of all these skins from all of these tricksters crates, because every single one of these comes with 2 tricksters crates. So if you have a person who wants to go on G2A and sell all these keys, well, they're not going to sell the crates. What they're going to do is open all the crates, and then they're going to sell all those skins on the market. So it's just going to flood the market again. And so it's nothing but bad for the community, because it's going to put more cheap keys out there, and it's going to put more skins on the market. Ross is saying skins are already 3 cents. And
I sold mine when I guess I was at a good time. I made like $70 off those. I know you made a whole boatload of money, but I made $70 off those.
Yeah,
skins.
I bought all my like summer sale games with it.
Oh, there you go. Capitalism.
So, yeah, and so that's the thing is I think that this is kind of the final, just the final call, like the ship's going down type of a thing.
It's the last hurrah.
Yeah, the last hurrah for H1Z1, because if they're trying to keep their servers full enough to seem busy, because they have this new professional league and all this. If people go onto the game after they see a tournament happen, they're all stoked about the game, and they go online and it's barely filling one of the servers, there's a problem. And people will realize that they can't fake this. Now, when they have tons of people playing, you can have a ton of servers and you don't realize it, because no matter what, it's just queuing. When you go in there, it queues and you load. But we used to run into this in the early days. Remember when we'd go into lobbies and you couldn't queue a game because there was so few people?
Yeah. Now Ross is verifying.
We're back to that again.
He just posted a picture. His lobby is full right now. So this could have been maybe just middle of the day. There are a whole bunch of factors here.
She does this probably she does this probably about like 1 or 2 my time. So it's the middle of the workday.
Yeah, but even middle of the workday, there's still people playing. I mean,
yeah.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting to say the least.
Well, I mean, it could be all you need is a couple hundred people to play, and you can fill one of these. So,
yeah, and there's definitely a couple hundred people playing. I mean, there is still tens of thousands of people playing. So, I think
but how many people are in each region? And
Brian,
that's the thing, is this is West Coast.
No matter, Brian, I don't care what you say. There is no way that there was not more than 15 people playing on North America on the West Coast. That's the thing, is they'd be on impossible.
Other queued servers. But that's what I'm saying is if you have, well, I don't know. I mean, they could have had 100 people playing, 200 people playing, and you have the 100 and whatever that are in the first game, and then the next one is just waiting for that next game to end, but it didn't end before this one had to start. You know what I'm saying?
True. Falcon is saying same thing about an isolated. This seems like it could be. They may have been on some weird. It seems like an isolated thing, because I can't. There's no way I'm gonna believe that there wasn't more than 400 people out of 20 or 30,000 concurrently playing that were on the West Coast. Go ahead.
I even rewound that video just to make sure she wasn't going into some special game mode or something like that, and she was just going into the normal.
Well,
like I made sure, because I was like, man, this seems like she's going into a special, like protected, maybe a custom game or something, and she didn't. Like she went into a regular game, which surprised me.
There you go.
With the numbers.
So, but in my opinion, the big issue here is now again another influx of just. You get a key and you get a key and you get a key. I mean, these keys are going to be dirt cheap after this is out.
Because there have been sales and things, but this Humble Bundle is a way that people can, they can get 6 games for $15. So they'll just sell. They're like, okay, well, I know I can make more than $15 selling all of them on G2A. And so they'll turn around and do that. So you may have $10 copies, maybe even a little bit lower, of H1Z1 out there on a regular basis now.
There you go.
So, which is much easier. It's much easier, if you're a cheater, you're like, oh, well, I'll buy 3 or 4 copies. That's $30-$40. That's not that bad, right? For the cheaters. I mean, they'll do that in a heartbeat. They're already paying $100-something to cheat anyways for the code.
That's a fact, yeah. So there you go. I was definitely a little disappointed in this being the Humble Bundle. I don't know. It's too early to say.
It's the first time I've skipped.
Well, so of course you can initially go to say that, well, IGN purchasing it ruined Humble Bundle, because if you want to fit that narrative, which it's just, in my opinion, too early to make a claim like that.
No,
but
they wouldn't have made decisions yet. This stuff would all have been arranged for months. Like, these are,
you would think,
deals that they're working on for months.
Yeah, you would think with that, but nevertheless, not a good month for a Humble Bundle. I mean, this game is a piece
I've never
of
seen so
garbage.
much negativity around one of the, because I always go look at the posts talking about the games, and you'll get some people say, oh, these games suck, or this is the only one I've seen that almost every single comment was negative. She even said in the stream, she was like, this game's not for everyone, but there are people who like it, because everybody in the live stream was just saying, this game sucks. Why are you playing this game? You guys are ruining Humble Bundle. Like, during her stream. And so she actually made a comment, because I think she was getting worn down. She was like, not every, some people, not every game's not for everyone. Some people really like this game. That's what she was saying.
Oh, God.
And I've never, usually they're all positive and talking about, oh, this is great, get Humble Bundle. She was having to make excuses during that, and I was like, that's kind of odd.
Yeah, I've never seen that before either. Firebombing the Humble Bundle office over the game being H1Z1. That is not good, to say the least. So a little disappointed in Humble Bundle's decision on this. I don't know what the deal is.
If you don't own H1Z1 and you want to, I mean, you get it for the 15.
Who the hell doesn't own H1Z1?
I don't know. I don't know who does.
Like, that's my point with this. This game has been, we like to joke about Battlegrounds and stuff like that. H1Z1 was the closest thing to Battlegrounds in terms of popularity. Everybody was playing H1Z1. Now, again, it wasn't the scale of Battlegrounds, because it wasn't that good of a game. But when H1Z1 came out, everybody, and I say everybody, was playing Battleground, or excuse me, was playing H1Z1. It was not even not even close. So that'll be that'll be interesting to see. I wish they would release statistics after each month, but obviously that's not going to be the case.
I don't think. Well, not for the monthly. Like, you could see statistics on the regular one, because it'll tell you how many sold, but I don't think they show you that stuff with the monthly bundles.
The bundles,
so
there you go.
That's too bad, because we would be able to see how many people actually purchased if it were a regular bundle.
Absolutely. And it's the other thing too is I have, obviously, if anybody's ever if anybody ever has any questions on if we sway our opinions based on companies that may work with us and give us stuff, we're part of the Humble Bundle affiliate program, and we make a decent amount of money in that affiliate program. We're tearing them to shreds right now. This is a terrible decision. I don't know what again, the reason I say this is because I don't have any inside knowledge on this, and I don't think Brian does. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't know what the agreement is between Humble Bundle and the game company. There's got to be some type of agreement there. It's a dual marketing campaign. There's got to be, like, I don't know if the company that is part of the thing donates some money to charity. I don't know what the deal is. So there's obviously some type of...
They get a percentage of it. So
I know they get a percentage, but it's got to be more than that.
A percentage goes to charity, and then a percentage goes to the gaming company as if they sold a key.
I'm talking about...
And then Humble Bundle gets a percentage.
But I'm talking about, why does Humble Bundle choose a game like H1Z1? There is something between those two companies internally going on.
According to H1Z1, it's doing great. I think that's the thing, is the problem is H1Z1 goes and sells itself as everything is all right. It's like being on the Titanic. and you got the orchestra there playing a symphony. You know
it's
what I'm
the
saying?
meme.
Like
it's the dog in the house with the frying pan, and the entire house is burning behind him. You've seen that meme.
I think that's what it is they'll get their marketing people going up there and saying, "Oh yeah, look at we've sold this many copies and we got, all these people playing." Of course, they don't realize it's all these people playing in China, and how Humble Bundle really needs to look at it and say, "Well, how many copies of things do we sell to China? Do we sell to China? How well do we sell to China?" Because if it's not China that they're looking on making money from this Humble Bundle on, then they're not going to make very much on this month's monthly. And so I think this is a mistake because H1Z1 has always tried to keep this a big secret. They've always tried to not mention the fact that now the only people really playing their game are from China. They, like with this new league that they're doing, they're not catering it to China. They don't have China teams on it right now. Like, this is supposedly all US based, and I'm sure they'll let China teams come in, but they're marketing to the wrong people. Like, Daybreak needs to accept it and say, all right, let's market to China. Like, let's do everything we can to sell to China. They already changed the name for China. Like, they put on this front like America's their biggest customer, and they're not. Well, don't go to Humble Bundle and say, all right, look at we can sell all these copies, because you know what? I think Humble Bundle is now finding out in the United States they can't anymore.
Well, and
H1Z1's lost all face here.
And to be fair, we'll talk about this in a little while. PUBG is heading down the exact same road. I mean, this is just an issue with these type of fast-paced. I mean, these are FPSs for all intents and purposes. Both of those games are trending the exact same direction, except H1Z1's happened months ago, and we're seeing the end result now. PUBG is happening, and we haven't seen the end result. We've seen the direct impact. Talked about it last week. There's the hackers running rampant in the game. You can buy the hacks for $35.
And that's my concern, is like, I've kind of lost some of my PUBG excitement because I see the exact same thing happening. And unless they can turn around and do something different than what Daybreak did, I feel that they might go to the exact same place. And that's really my concern, is when you see, if you see a train go down the thing and it goes off the end of a bridge, because it's gone, like, and you see another train going, well, something's got to change, or else that train's going the exact same place. That's right. Fact. And I just, it's such a similar course that they're going right now. It worries me. The hackers is exactly the same thing that we ran into H1Z1, exactly the same, in the exact same time, right after it blew up in China. And I know a lot of people will say it's not China. China's not, hackers aren't whatever. But after it blew up in China last time with H1Z1, hackers then ran rampant and destroyed the game. And now we got the exact same thing happening in the exact same manner. And we'll be talking a little bit about that. I don't know if you...
Do you have a phrase for what's going on?
No. Am I supposed to have a phrase?
No, I was just asking if you had a phrase.
Oh,
no, nothing particular. I was just asking if you had a phrase.
The Asian invasion.
Oh my God.
So this is something that we were discussing earlier this week, and I said that this has to be this week's show title, is the Asian invasion, because that's what happened last time with H1Z1. That's what's happening here with PUBG. It's an Asian invasion that goes and just absorbs and destroys whatever game it takes in. So I don't know what to say other than that. Of PUBG, it may be a game that if they don't correct this, and they've got to decide, is it worth trying to cater to China and to sell 5 million more copies? Possibly.
Oh, I mean, but hold on a second here. Based on the chart you posted last week, all of the current players are from China. So yes, from a business standpoint, yes. Fuck the United States, Brian. I mean, there's no why. Why the United States is like 20% of the people playing. I mean, they'd be stupid business people to cater towards them.
And so that's the thing, is that they've sold all those copies, and are they gonna? Do they want to change all that and risk losing a lot of those sales to come and cater to the United States again? And I have a feeling that it's not how it is. I don't think their main priority is the United States.
No.
So I understand it's a business decision.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Bluehole is a company, and
It's a Korean company.
well, even Korean company, American company, they're going to cater to whoever the hell wants to play the game. Yeah, and if all of the business is in Asia or China, I mean, maybe we're just out of touch with this, Brian.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe that's the case. I just we're kind of
PH says PUBG can fix this easily. They can get the game banned in China, and that's the thing is.
But why would they?
I don't know, but
that's an illogical argument to make.
If they view it as maybe they won't want to like exactly what H1Z1's doing. They're turning around and catering now to China to try to retain that relationship, right?
I don't think they're catering to China. I disagree with you completely.
They changed their name for China.
Oh, H1Z1. I'm sorry, talking about PUBG.
Yeah, I'm not saying PUBG.
I'm sorry, yes.
No, you're right. H1Z1,
yes.
Daybreak is catering to China,
yes, sir,
to try to maintain and retain that player base.
Yes.
But is that smart of them? Could they turn around and say, you know what, we've made probably the net sales that we're going to make out of China. You know, we've made the sales that we need to make out of China that's funding our game. Do we need to now keep catering our game, taking out blood, changing the name, changing the cop cars? Do we need to keep doing all this stuff to try to cater to them? Or we just say, you know what, if you don't want the game, that's fine. But it's H1Z1, you know, it's King of the Kill, whatever we want it to be. Like, it's our game, we're going to make it. And if you guys want to have it here, you can have it here. But if not, then that's fine. I think PUBG is to the point to where they've done 20 million copies sold.
Yeah.
Do they think they're going to get that many more out of China?
But it's not about getting more copies out of China. It's where the concurrent users are playing. Bro, I'm trying to pull this up on the fly, and I wasn't able to. But for example, I believe something like our podcast.
What about console?
Well, we can talk about console in a second, but for example, I believe our podcast, the last time I looked at it, like 72% of our podcast downloads come from America. That would say, let's ban it in America, and we'll just release it in Europe instead. I mean, H1Z1 and PUBG are not going to pull the game out of China because that's where the players are. If H1Z1 today pulled the game pulled all the Asian servers offline and blocked those copies, there'd be like 6,500 people playing the damn game. And guess what? Sad reality is, Brian, is you and I can say that we'd play it. That's a damn lie. You would not be playing H1Z1. I would not be playing H1Z1. The chat would not be playing H1Z1. Because, yes, the hackers are a problem, but on top of that, it's a shitty game. It's not a good game.
Yeah.
So why would H1Z1 cater to America at this point? The Americans hate the game because it sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no reason.
Like Ross is saying, you know, like the Chinese will go where they control with cheats. And this is a game right now. H1Z1 has been a game that they have always been able to do that. It's easily hackable. They can go through and use ESP, aimbots, speed hacks. Everything else has been openly available to them with no restriction. Now, the concern is, I was watching a stream here on YouTube this past week. That was a guy who just blatantly streams his, and he was doing this on PUBG this time. I've seen him do it before on H1Z1, where he just runs around and see how long it takes him to get banned. He did the exact same thing with PUBG this week. He was speed hacking everywhere. He was aimbotting, punching people through walls. He was doing everything possible. Like, he would just one tap somebody with a pistol from across, all the way across a valley. He was just doing everything with no restrictions. There were 0 restrictions on him with these cheats. And it took them over 2.5 hours of him telling everyone, go report me. Every time he kills somebody, he'd say, I'm cheating. Go report me. He'd say it every single kill to every single person. It took him 2.5 hours to ban him.
Well, I've got the solution. I mean, we're talking about shutting the game off in China. How about just dealing with the hacking?
The cheats.
It seems like...
Now, okay, there is a note here. So let's jump into this for PUBG. They actually they posted a release. So their updates that they do on their website. And I think because they see the writing on the wall, and they have the perfect example of H1Z1 to be able to say, all right, well, what might happen with this situation right now?
Yeah.
Like, where are we going with the situation right now? They already have somebody who did the exact same thing right ahead of them. So I think that they see this, and they're trying to figure out how to avoid that. Do you want me just to read this?
If you want to, go ahead.
All right, because it's not that long.
Okay.
He says, players, first of all, we would like to sincerely apologize for the inconvenience caused by the cheaters, and we are sorry that you have not been able to enjoy PUBG in a safe and fair environment. Our development team is doing their best to detect and ban those who use cheats in a more proactive manner. We are aware that we still have much to do. We will use all available resources to combat cheaters and foster a safe and fair in-game environment. We will also continue to take actions against those who develop and distribute cheats. As we announced before, we are in the process of adopting new tools to detect and verify users with unusual gameplay patterns, and today we will be rolling out additional measures. We will continue to permanently ban those who are using cheats. When unusual gameplay patterns are detected from an account, that account will be temporarily suspended and investigated. Although we hope to bring about a safe and fair environment in PUBG as soon as possible, our battle against cheaters will not end overnight. We will continue our research and development to establish a better system for combating cheaters. We will take stronger action to find and ban cheaters, while at the same time taking good care to not harm innocent players. Next week, we'll be deploying yet another patch related to cheat detection. And again, we would like to assure you that we will continue our efforts to shape a healthy environment in PUBG. Your feedback is crucial for us in banning cheaters and combating the use of cheats. We will listen to your feedback, and as we continue to build our anti-cheat system and adopt new measures. So that was their post for this week. Rather than having an update, that's what they posted this week on their blog. And, we've heard kind of a similar statement years ago, right? Cheaters is our number one priority, and it depends what they do with it.
And exactly. And again, we don't hold any punches here. This is lip service. Let's see it implemented. Let's see the actions. And you know what? Good first step. I've said this for years. Can't solve a problem unless you identify it. They have now publicly identified hackers are ruining the game.
Rather than putting out a video of tiers of hackers, which is all H1Z1 did, was
that's a fact.
Record videos saying, and taunting the hackers. What's the worst thing that you can do online?
Taunt
if you want to
taunt
make if you don't want to make yourself a target online, what is the thing that you don't do? You don't go taunt trolls. You don't go say, you can't get me, especially when you're a person who's in public, right? Who puts your real name out on the internet. You don't go taunt trolls. That's all H1Z1 did. They're like, made fun of the hackers. Well, how'd that work out for them? Are the hackers still crying? No, the hackers are out there still playing, and they're not getting banned. And so it'll be interesting to see here with this. One thing I did look at, and I went and did some research this week, and I found that on PUBG, Unreal Engine, which is what the engine that they're using for that, has anti-speed hacking measures built into the engine.
Mm-hmm.
And those aren't turned on in PUBG right now. And all it is some check boxes in their settings that they have to enable. And now there may be side effects, and the reason they don't have them on possibly is that it might change the gameplay, because what they want to do is make it look like everything is working fine, right? Your character will keep moving, and then it'll catch up with the server and tell the server what you did over the last couple seconds when there's a little bit of lag. Well, that's all fine and dandy until hackers use that leeway that they give you to their advantage. So they start doing things and say, "Oh, you didn't notice, but while you were lagged, I killed this person, and this person, or this bullet flew over here, and the server's not checking, or I moved all the way over here and you just didn't realize it." And the server's not checking these things. So what would happen is if they turn these settings on, the server would actually verify that the person is supposed to be able to move from here to here, and the person is moving at this rate. And then if it finds that it's behind, it actually pauses the person in place, doesn't let them move until the server catches up. Now imagine if the server's overloaded, because we've had that happen, and every 15 to 20 seconds, your character is just pausing in place and isn't able to move.
I've had that in games.
Imagine how much rage.
Yeah.
much
Arc,
rage.
Arc
and
used to have
I
that
think
issue all the
that's why they
time.
didn't do
It wasn't the same thing, but Arc
Yeah.
servers used to freeze every was every like 3 or 4 minutes. The game would just pause for 15 or 20 seconds. Just pause. You just whatever you're doing.
Yep.
And you would ask, server crash? No, pause.
Nope.
Okay, we're back. Yeah, I mean it's awful. Clearly there's a reason that it's not on, and it's not because oh god we didn't realize it was in the settings. There's something else associated with it.
But I think that that's something they really need to focus on is for one of the steps.
They need to
is,
probably
all
develop
how
their
can
own.
we make
Because the thing
well,
built
it's
into
built into the engine. I mean,
yeah, but the one built into the engine is probably very resource intensive.
No, I don't. Not that it's resource intensive, but it's honest. It's very honest, and so they can't smudge it, right? They can't change it to where okay, we'll give it a little bit of leeway.
And you
here.
do need to give it leeway.
And so
because
it would accurately stop the player when they're not communicating with the server.
yeah, and
And
unfortunately,
people would notice it.
yeah, and unfortunately, while that's a great concept, you have to have leeway. It's the internet, packets get dropped, routers. I mean, go take a networking class. It's unbelievably complex. Routers will drop things from time to time. Your home internet may flicker for a second. Your ISP may quickly drop everything. I mean, things fluctuate in the internet.
They need to find out what's the leeway that we're willing to accept that will disable the hackers as much as possible, but still give a playable environment. Because that's going to be the issue when you look at this, is that these hackers are taking advantage of the leeway that's being given to all these other players that might not have great computers, they may not have great internet connections, and so they're taking that leeway and using it all to their advantage, or the restrictions that aren't there. They're just taking advantage of all those and using them in these cheats. And so if they can start closing off each one of those, I mean, imagine how much different these hacks would be if they didn't have the ability to speed hack. Then they'd only have the ability to do aimbot. Well, at least they'd have to run and move around the map. We see people getting 40 to 50 kill games in PUBG right now, which is not a possible thing by a normal player.
No,
it just isn't possible. You can't get around the map and interact with 40 to 50 players when you're not speed hacking. And so if they cut that out alone, a hacker may only have access to 20 people in a game.
Here's the thing. If right now, if I had to put my money on a development team to solve cheating, because that's the thing. These things are constantly evolving, constantly changing. There's no solving. It's just you're constantly playing, tweaking either the algorithm or the system 24/7.
Yeah.
If I had to put my money on a team that could solve the cheating, the anti-cheat, I would put my money on PUBG's team at this point. I could be wrong, but if there was any other team, if there was anybody capable, got the money, for Christ's sakes, 20 million copies sold since March. They've got more money than I mean, we're talking about a game like Conan making a lot of money when that came out. It made a boatload of money. This is next level money. I mean, this is crazy how much money they've made off this game. It hasn't been on sale yet.
Yep.
They've got the money, they've got the resources. In my opinion, they've got the talent to do this. So if there was a team to do it correctly, it'll probably be PUBG. And again, we haven't seen it, but
the timing is perfect.
It is perfect. You're right.
I think the timing is perfect with Epic and Fortnite though too. Like PUBG was maybe a little bit frustrated initially with that, whatever that story was. Really, we don't know the behind the scenes. But I think the timing of Fortnite is perfect because Epic, who makes Unreal Engine, is dealing with the exact same problems at the exact same time in implementing all these fixes. And I know we talked about this a little bit last week, but I think that this actually works out perfectly. And I'm sure that now PUBG is like, man, we have a big problem here. And they're working with Epic as well to say, well, how can we, in a good way with the engine, start preventing a lot of these things where a lot of those talks are happening? Because Epic is trying to cut it out, and they're doing measures. And now we have PUBG doing measures to trying to cut down on cheaters. Probably, and I think we'll see this in ways that we haven't seen with games like H1Z1 and a lot of these other games. Like, these guys have the resources. I mean, Epic makes the engine, and they're fighting it just as much as PUBG is right now as well. So I think that those two together, which they're a forced relationship. I mean, one relies on the other, right? I think those two together will have probably maybe the best. I'm saying possibly the best anti-cheat system that's available if they work together and do it right. So,
if there was a team to do it, I think it would be PUBG.
Yep.
You want to?
So I'm hoping.
Want to announce a giveaway here?
All right. Yep. So let me go ahead and get it. This will be 30 points raffle.
Okay.
And then we'll do exclamation point giveaway in chat. And we will be giving away a copy of Flint Hook. And I'll put a message of it in here, and I'll put a Steam thing. And this was one of the recent Humble Bundle giveaways. It's a game that right now is about $14.99. It's got mostly positive overall reviews, and it's a action indie pixel graphics adventure game. So Flint Hook, and then I will put a link so you can go check it out on Steam. Just type exclamation point giveaway, and you will be able to enter for this.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
And it just kind of ironic when I was browsing through the player, I think it's Pub Battleground sub. I don't know what the subreddit name is. It's not PUBG. I think it's player Battlegrounds or something like that. This is one of the top posts showing the Steam discussion page, which is just nothing but these are QQ chat room codes. That's what those numbers some of those numbers are. So, just saying. I mean, I don't want to come off like a jerk, but Brian, you and I have been there, done that with H1Z1. We know what this turns into, and it turns into that region of the world just completely taking over, and then everybody else says screw it. So I'm just
and I think that they've probably already seen some of that. I mean, for the first time, we saw PUBG's American numbers drop last month. That hadn't happened up until this point. The U.S. numbers had never declined as far as concurrent players.
Okay.
And that did happen. So it will be interesting to see how they deal with this, because I understand that China is a very lucrative. It's a very lucrative proposition for game companies. If they can get a foothold in China, they can sell, as you can see, probably 15 million copies to China alone. I mean, I'm guessing, right? You think out of the 20 million, probably 15 million of that, if I remember correctly?
That seems a bit high.
3/4 or over half. I mean, I bet you over half.
Okay. Okay.
I don't. So America is maybe 5 million of that, right? I think we're a quarter, if I remember correctly, of the overall sales. And then there's the rest of the world and all that. So that's my concern is they are much better business proposition sales wise, but are they long-term? Because H1Z1, I think, hedged their bet on China and they lost.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They lost
I
big
think.
time.
And so, is that worth it, for these other companies to take that same risk? Are they willing to go into China, all in on China, to where they're willing to bend over backwards, change the whole name of the game for a third time now?
Yeah.
Are they willing to do that for China? And I don't think China's going to be happy with the concept of Battlegrounds.
But we're missing the point here. Of course they're going to do this for China, Brian. That's the only people playing the game.
But there's a big risk. China doesn't like the concept of Battle Royale.
I understand that there's a big risk associated with it, but you just said yourself that there's 20 million sales and you just said 15 million of those sales are from China. Of course they're going to put their eggs in that
over
basket.
10 million, yeah.
So then...
But the thing is China's very fickle. China doesn't like the concept of Battle Royale. They could turn around tomorrow and say, you know what? We don't want Battle Royale.
And they absolutely could. But again, but what is the alternative? Say to hell with all those people and just pray to God that the Americans continue to play? That just doesn't seem like a smart business choice.
I mean, that
just doesn't seem like a smart choice.
Don't know, but it doesn't. It seems not smart on the short term. But I think on the long term, they're risking another H1Z1.
They might be.
If they're making this a platform that they want to start, launching all these other things from, and they hedge everything on China, they risk not having that platform. And is that worth it for them? This was supposed to be a platform to do all these other game types and whatever else.
That is true.
If they put all their eggs in the China basket, they risk losing that platform because China may not care about the rest of that.
That's true.
I mean, China may just want to go through, hack, and not do any of these other game modes or whatever. They may not produce anything from it. So I don't know. I think it's short term. I think this thinking is short term, and they really need to look at, do we risk not selling as many copies to make this a product that's long term?
Who knows? Got to go where the money is.
So, yeah, and they have so far.
It's the unfortunate truth. I mean, it's the way it is. They're a business. They have salaries to pay. They have bottom lines. They've got investors. I mean, I think they can do both. Absolutely think they can do both. So they'll.
Well, again, if there was, he's bringing up that they did 10 million copies. If the government banned it in 2 days later, the company still made that money, right? And that's the thing that's what I'm saying is they made all that money, so they don't need to cater to China anymore. They don't need to change anything for China. They made those sales. That was kind of my point earlier, is they made the sales. They don't need to cater anymore because they're not going to get, I don't think they're going to get that many more sales out of China. Not to make it worth risking everything here.
I don't know.
I mean, who's what? They can't resell those.
I understand, but
unless they're trying to really go all in on the skin market.
No, I don't think they are. I just don't think there's an argument. I just don't think there's an argument.
If they're not doing that, that's where I don't see that. Like, China did a lot for the skin market for H1Z1, right?
Yeah.
It pretty much held up the skin market. And if they're not going to go all in on PUBG for the skin market, right, there's not that much incentive in the future to really cater to China anymore, because they've made like probably the net number of sales they're going to make from China for the most part. And what about console? It's console, and that's what I was going to ask you earlier. Is console more of a thing in the United States? Does console have a lot of representation in China? Do a lot of sales happen on console in China? I don't know.
Portable systems are the big. Okay, so I mean, we're beating this horse beyond dead. Let's talk about. What you want to do the game giveaway here, or want to wait?
Let's go ahead and roll it.
Okay.
All right. Amnon, does he want it?
No.
Okay, I'm gonna repick.
There you go.
All right. Okano. I assume that's how I pronounce it. Okano. Congratulations. Okano has won, and I will send you a message that'll have the key to redeem, and make sure you check others, because it usually comes into other messages.
Yeah. So what Brian and I have been playing another game this week, and the reason I want to bring this up is because they have the same issue. Call of Duty. They release a special version of the game just for China that they update every year. It is not playable outside of China. It is its own. It is called Call of Duty, and it is only available in China. It has a very weird box. It's nothing like the U.S. version. It's just called Call of Duty, and that's what they play in China. So
I think that's smart.
It's very smart. That's what PUBG and H1Z1 need to do. They need to just segment China and Asia to its own thing. Let the Chinese government, which controls everything, dictate what they want, but then leave the American game alone. I think that's what.
There should have been no chance for them to even play on the American servers, which is what Call of Duty, the people that are playing the Chinese version have no chance of playing on the American servers. They're playing a totally different client.
Yes.
It's something that just, it doesn't say, okay, let's browse over here to the US North America servers. That is not an option. And that's what I'm hoping. I don't know. I can't say what Bluehole is thinking in the background, right? But if they're going to cater it all to China, and this is the mistake that H1Z1 made, and they never did this. If H1Z1 when they saw the writing on the wall of China saying, well, we want you to change this, we want you to change this, rather than having it say, okay, this is we're saying this is a China version, and all we're going to do is switch out these skins, but you can still pick from all the servers. Give them their own client, so that only has access to their servers, and then restrict all of their access from China to the American servers after that. And then there's no chance, even with VPNs, that they're going to come in and play over here if they have the ping restriction and they have some sort of limitations in place.
Yeah, I mean that's the way it needs to be dealt with. But that's the reason I brought it up, because that's how Activision Blizzard have decided to deal with Call of Duty in China. And that's how they've decided they want to deal with it. And it clearly it works, because I don't have to deal with that BS on the American
Ross says, they can VPN and buy an American version of the game, but the thing is they can't fake ping. They can't make it seem, if they have a strict enough ping restriction on there, they can't fake it enough to be able to play over that VPN and have a low enough ping time to be able to actually play here in the American servers. So it's still, they can bypass it, but if they can't get a good enough connection here, and VPN's only going to make it worse, they can't play in the North American servers, which I think is, keeping those communities separate will keep a healthy North American player base, and it'll keep that China player base playing how they want to play by themselves. I just think I think that as, Call of Duty, I don't feel like, and we're playing on the console version, but I don't feel like there's hackers constantly. It's not like, oh, that guy, and I'm sure if we were playing on the PC version, it'd be very, very different.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because I see all these different hacks and everything that they show and they list on there saying, all right, here is, here's all these hacks that are available for the latest games, and you can go buy them. I mean, pretty much all of the games, current games are on these cheat sites, and there are cheats available for them.
That's fact.
There's no company that 100% has eradicated cheats that I've seen. I mean, I've never seen one that is impossible to cheat on. So as far as, we did hint at it. They've done 20 million sales of PUBG so far. So do you have a guess on consoles, how many they might sell? I mean,
no. And the reason I say
that's coming up here in December.
And the reason I say no is because I have no statistics on any console sales for the most part.
Yeah.
Plus, this is
that pretty.
They do. It's just they don't release it. Because it's really hard to. I mean, you can tell, but GameStop purchases 100,000 copies of the games, and they sit on store shelves.
Yeah, and they don't report, oh, we sold this many.
Yeah, I mean,
they just bought them.
Yeah, they'll report when they need new stock, but so it's not quite as exact science as you can see that we sold 19,992,000 copies or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, plus this is Microsoft's start of their new game developer, their early access program. So
I'm sure they're going to push it like crazy.
Well, they're going to push it like crazy, but it's the new program. Are people going to be interested in buying it? I mean, the game may suck on the Xbox. Who knows? So, I mean, no, I don't really think. I don't have an opinion. Here's the thing. Console is so drastic compared to PC. 20 million sales is crazy. 20 million sales on a PC game, on a console game is... It's a lot of sales, don't get me wrong, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
It's not unheard of.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what happens, because this game doesn't seem like it would port well over to console with the sniper play. I think it'll be a different game on console.
It will be.
I think they'll have to go more for the Call of Duty type of feel, less. I mean,
there will be no, that's not true. They don't have to go for the Call of Duty feel. But Brian, you're playing Call of Duty right now on PlayStation. There is aim assist built into the game.
Yeah.
When you are aiming towards somebody, the game absolutely kind of hones you in, slows your movement down when you get near when you're aimed over somebody. It's called aim assist. It's very, very common on console shooters. It's the only way that you can shoot people with precision because the analog stick is so sensitive. It's called aim assist.
Yeah,
that's how.
Well, and this
that's
is
how
where
they deal with it.
They can't merge these two communities, though. They're talking about merging and having PC players play with console players, and I don't think there's a way they can balance that enough. I don't think they can make it to where one doesn't have a leg up on the other in some way, and perfectly balance console players using aim assist and then PC players having a mouse. I don't think it's possible to do.
No, they better not, because
I mean, they're talking, but I think they're going to do play tests, and I think they're going to reverse on that idea. And I'm fine with them. I don't see a reason to do it other than, they want to see a lot of people playing at one time. But I think it's more of they want to do it because no one else has done it before. They want to have a first.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's worth messing up the players just so you can have a first saying, hey, look, we combine these two communities together.
Well, and I mean, it's not the first game to do that. It would be the first shooter. Rocket League, for example, supports full cross-platform play.
Yeah, but that game is made
yes.
for a controller on PC.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I'm just saying,
this game just doesn't match that genre.
I'm looking forward to playing it. I am absolutely going to get this game on the Xbox because I'm very, very curious to see how it holds up.
So do we want to talk a little bit about Call of Duty?
Sure.
So we how much have we talked about? We didn't talk about
it
very
at all
much yet. So okay, so with this release happened a couple days ago, right? Friday
midnight
night.
At Thursday at midnight.
And so I, as a last minute, I just have this problem. Spur of the moment decision.
Mentally,
I'm like, all right,
mentally ill.
I have a disability, and so I said, all right, I'm gonna buy this, and so I got it. I got the digital deluxe edition. So pretty much, there's $100 out the window, right?
Wow.
and then I'm like, oh, but now I need PlayStation Plus because I need to be able to play online.
Absolutely.
Because I never play online.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really played a console before. I played a few games.
That's fact.
Right? I never played a console before. And so then I had to get the PlayStation Plus for a year, which is like $60, right? And so there, $160 later, I'm ready at midnight, well, a little after midnight. Your time.
Significantly after
Once the
midnight.
download happened. Yeah, I mean, it took a while to download.
No,
well, if I were to run this cable,
I'm not talking about download. I'm talking about the servers. We weren't ready to go.
So at midnight we're ready to go, and the servers are down, and there's no contact from the team for Call of Duty on what's happening. So 2 hours later, so this is now like 2 a.m.
2:37 a.m. is when the servers came online.
So finally, we start playing at 2:37 a.m. So luckily for me, it was only like 12:37. And I stayed up and I think I played till 3 something my time. So for you,
I played until about 6 o'clock, slept for about 45 minutes, and then got up and went to work.
Yeah.
Now, let me say, first of all, Activision needs to be crucified or a sledgehammer. Totally botched the launch. Worst Call of Duty server launch I've seen in a very long time. Servers were down, and I mean, 2.5 hours. They're supposed to be live at midnight. It just a total disaster, and it's surprising because normally these games don't. And normally, 25, 30 minutes is pretty common because so many people are trying to load into it. But it was a very long time. We were very close. If the servers were not up within probably within half an hour, that we would have all probably gotten off. Because it was just there was nothing to do. We're just sitting there and talking. So that was
clicking that button.
Yeah, clicking that button. Literally just clicking the button over and over and over again. So that was the launch, which was a little bit of a joke.
Yeah. And for me, this is the first time I've ever played a game like this. I played Call of Duty on the PC when we played as a group, right? So I've got a few hours in Call of Duty. Black Ops 3, is that the one that it
Yes.
is? And so that's pretty much the only Call of Duty I played, and I played on a PC. So for me, yeah, this was a very different. I'm still getting used to the controller because it's like learned movements, and like getting it to where when you're moving around, like the knobs just don't go all over the place, and your head is going back and forth trying to aim on a person.
Yes.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah.
Nick was laughing at me
No, it's just frustrating.
pretty much all night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's good. So I guess the reason, I mean, so this is the thing. First of all, we got people in chat saying how the new COD sucks. Yes, PC COD terrible. Always been terrible. Always will be terrible. Activision doesn't give a flying flip about the PC community, as they shouldn't, because nobody plays it on PC. In terms of a Call of Duty game, I would like to. I will classify myself as an expert in the series. I've purchased every single game since Call of Duty 4 when it's come out. The last couple have sucked. The last two were garbage, absolute garbage. This one's pretty good. This one's actually pretty good. It's back to the basics. So, is it the best game ever? Oh no, not by far. There's a whole bunch of issues with it. The headquarters thing, in my opinion, is very stupid. There are a whole bunch of issues with the game. The gun balance is a little screwed up. Luckily, gun balance can be fixed. It can be tweaked just like anything else. So that's good. But in terms of gameplay in general, I think it's pretty good compared to the last two Call of Duties, which are just way too much. They way too much went for space and advanced and Halo with jetpacks and wall running and jumping and land, like weird detonation bombs and laser rifles. It was just way too much on the past couple of Call of Duties. This is completely back to the basics. Your feet don't leave the ground unless you're jumping. You're pushing lead into people. The kill streaks are very primitive. It's pretty good. I'm enjoying it so far. And I mean, that's about it. I'm so far.
And I've been having fun with it because I mean it's
been a lot of fun.
I had I think 15 hours total on the PC version of Call of Duty,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's like my whole Call of Duty experience for my life. The only time I've ever been logged into Call of Duty is at 15 hours on PC. So this is a very new experience because console I pretty much only played games like New Horizon, Zero Dawn, and just just those. That's pretty much all I played on consoles. So and that's a very different game than this. So it's been fun to play something a little bit different.
Yeah, well, it's been a boatload of fun. If you're interested,
and we have a group. So do we want to? I mean, if people want to try to play with us sometime,
yeah, go for it. Let
us
them know.
A message. Yeah, if you want to try to play with us, we have a group of people that've been playing. Just send us a message. You can maybe tweet us, or you could send us some contact at infectionpodcast.com, or send us a message in Discord, and then we can get you invited to come in and play because we've been playing pretty much every night, at least for a couple hours.
We do play every night,
trying to get some games in. So if you want to join us, help make the full 8-man squad,
Six man.
Just send us a message. Is it 6-man?
Yes.
This side?
6.
Okay, sorry, 6-man squad. Well, the group max size is 8, but
but there's certain game modes
we can make.
Well, team deathmatch is 6 on 6.
6, yeah.
So if you're interested in joining, absolutely check it out. If you haven't played COD, and here's the thing with Call of Duty that people and reviews don't capture. It's not as much about the gameplay as it is playing with a group of people that you enjoy playing with and hanging out with. Case in point, game like Friday the 13th. Game is trash. Sorry, no, we're not supposed to bash them, but it's not a great game. I mean, everybody would admit it is not a great game. It is buggy, very limited on what you can do, limited character selection. When we've played it, we've had a crap ton of fun. Why? Because we're playing it with a good group of people. And the Call of Duty is exactly the same thing.
Yep.
It's exactly the same thing. No, and Call of Duty is not about the gameplay. It's not. It's the same thing. Same thing with Friday. Hell, it's the same thing with H1Z1 and Battlegrounds. Doesn't matter how good the Battlegrounds gameplay is. If you're playing the game by yourself all the time, it's not as good as playing it with a group of 3 other friends. It's just not comparable.
Yep.
And at least in this case, this game is fun with a group of people. Haven't played it enough solo to know that, but to know how it is solo. But overall, I think it's a pretty good game. I'd recommend it at this point. Not on the PC though. Don't waste don't waste your money. You will be very disappointed.
Yeah. And what would you do if you didn't have Lance and I in there getting low scores to laugh at? Like winning.
What? Yeah, I mean, we'd be winning. We'd be winning some of the games. That would be for sure. Holy crap.
Yeah.
So yeah. And PHSing, is it $60 fun? Oh yeah, absolutely. I look at the games that we play. I look at how much time I've spent into the game. Is it worth the money? I will absolutely get $60 worth of fun out of this game. I haven't yet because it hasn't been out long enough. It's only been out since Friday. But this group is going to continue to play.
Like 40. The problem is, like, let's look at Friday the 13th, for example. We spend $40 on that game.
Yeah.
How much do we really play it?
I
Right.
mean,
We play
not a whole lot.
a couple times.
Yeah.
In the group, and so I don't feel like I get my $40 out of that game. So there will be some people who do play that. They'll go and they'll spend 60, 80, 100 hours at least playing in that game, and okay, then you've made your money back from it, or you've returned your investment. But for me, those kind of games don't. But look at this, like, I'm getting my money's out of it because I'm playing it every night for even if we play it for the next couple of months, that's more than enough for me to justify that much money.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and Lance is reminded there is an infection community set up on PlayStation 4. Search Infection Podcast. I haven't there's no image for it yet, but the title is, or the description is
I wasn't sure if that would show up.
It should. The description is infectionpodcast.com. So that's the right group.
Okay.
So there you go.
Yep. So if you want to search for that, then you should be able to find us on there.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So what do we want to go into some other news?
Yeah. What do you want to talk about?
Let's go ahead and jump into, let's go into ARK for a minute.
Okay.
So there is, I found a video. So they today released ARK for the Xbox One X.
Yeah, that just came out.
Yeah. So they released ARK for that. And so here's a video. I don't know if you want to show that. It's about a minute and something that actually shows the Xbox One graphics versus the Xbox One X graphics side by side.
Yeah. Are you going to talk over it?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So Xbox One X is on the right. It's damn it.
Yes.
I'm trying to pull this up in a way that we can actually see it.
Okay.
Go ahead and talk about something. I'm trying to get this up here.
All right. So I was kind of surprised about this. The graphics, and you would think that the Xbox One is actually pretty decent.
It is. It's
supposed to be.
It's a super fast
hardware,
super fast console.
It's the latest and greatest console. But between the Xbox One and the Xbox One X, I think you'll notice with this video, and if you're listening to the audio only form of our podcast, then make sure you go to the website and check it out. Infectionpodcast.com. Episode 147 will be the post, and then you can scroll down, go to the ARK section. It'll be the first post on that. But this shows side by side, and you can see even the distance that things come in, like that log that's going across the way. You saw on the left side, like it rendered in later than the Xbox One X. You can see the rocks in the water. I mean, just watch right now. You see the rocks in the water. Oh, they didn't get close enough to even render in. But you can see they really raised the distance where things actually render in, and it just looks a lot better. The colors are darker, not so washed out, and just more detail. I mean, it's probably a lot closer to the PC look of the game. If you look at it, on PC, you have the ability to go and max out the settings. it looks like with the Xbox One X, they pretty much just have maxed out the settings like you would do on a PC. So I was kind of surprised how much of a difference, because I didn't realize that there was that much more power in the Xbox One X.
Well,
but I don't know. I haven't looked into.
Well, the thing with the Xbox One X is it's not the next generation up. It's like an enthusiast. It's an enthusiast grade system. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the next step up over the Xbox One. Like if you have an Xbox One now, there's really not. I don't think there's really a whole bunch of reason to buy that. But if you're like if you're a console enthusiast, I think, and you're really into the 4K HD Blu-rays and stuff like that, and you want to play the games in 4K and stuff, that would be your way to do it.
Do you think that many games are going to go and really change the content?
Yes.
Or make it look that much better like Ark is? Do you think they're all going to be that much of a difference?
Yes. Microsoft is, I believe, putting together a development studio just to help people update stuff to make the game. Yeah. I read something today about them making things available for the Xbox One. Even during E3 of last year, when they announced the Xbox One X, the PUBG thing literally said like HDR on Xbox One X. Yeah, they're pushing super hard.
Cool.
For some of that stuff.
Cool. So I mean, that's pretty much I mean, that's the way it's going. So if you have an Xbox One X or you're looking
just
at
came
one,
out today,
Ark
or last night or something.
Came out today for it. Yep. So they officially released. So you should be able to play that. Let's just run through the patch notes really quick. Still waiting for Ark Aberration, which was supposed to be out back in October. They said it would be delayed for a couple of weeks, and so I'm not sure. We're now 1 week in, so I'm not sure if it's not released this week, how many weeks a couple of weeks actually is. So we will see. On Halloween, so right after the last show, they released 273.5, and then they had the Witch's Curse, which was the 48 hours only special event that they did. And then they released, pretty much just that Halloween event. And then they put out some sub patches to that. So it's 273.55. They added icons and proper names to haircuts when in the inventory. They previously blank and all named ponytails. So they didn't have the right things in there. So now it'll actually say the name of the haircut, have an icon for it. And then added 2 additional caps to supply drops for the Witch's Curse. And then 273.58, the conclusion of the Halloween event. They closed that down on November 1st. Then 273.6, this was November 2nd. They fixed character destruction inventory bags to drop at the character's location if it can't find ground underneath, so that the loot items aren't lost. They fixed plant species Y to passively lose HP over 30 minutes as originally intended, made them and all traps not placeable within small range of another trap as originally intended, and they made the species Y trap apply piercing damage to a victim. They changed structure encroachment check logic to do a solid trace between encroachment points, preventing getting sleeping bags wedged in places they shouldn't fit. The Daedon no longer heals the Titanosaur. So the Daedon is that dinosaur that has the ability to do kind of a AoE heal. It'll heal all the dinosaurs in the area and people. The Titanosaur is a dinosaur that is supposed to be, once you tame it, it doesn't eat anymore, and it slowly dies over time. They're not meant to keep forever, and so if you get a Titanosaur, it doesn't matter if you feed it, doesn't matter what you do, it will die. So they didn't want you using a Daedon to be able to keep it alive, so that now no longer can. They fixed a way to get unconscious players under the ground. And then they fixed invisible grapple wall on the center. And then 273.62, this is November 3rd. They added a new server option to auto unlock specific or all engrams. So if you wanted to on your server, say that people had instantly available to them certain engrams, you can turn those on now with some different codes. And then they also have added the ability to have tech teleporters have an enable public teleportation option on there. So if you want to put a teleporter out there and allow other clans and just random people to be able to use it, You can have kind of a public one. This would probably be nice for PvE and things like that, and make a public teleporter. And then 273.63, they fixed issues in prior build where players could see and fast travel into other tribes' beds. And then 273.64, there was an unversion hotfix for changing plant species Y collisions to properly receive projectile impacts. And then they changed the public teleporter toggle to only be available for tribe admins, because anyone was able to turn that on. So that brings us current for Ark.
All right.
One thing I wanted to mention, the Darwin project, which is one of those first ones we interviewed at PAX, November 10th. I did have this down to be the game of the week, because I thought this was going to be an open beta. The problem is this is actually a closed beta. So it's for streamers, kind of like the keys that we have. It's for people that are going to stream and things like that. You can go apply if you go to their website. But that's why I was going to have this Friday be the Darwin project, everybody playing that. And then I went to the website and it was a closed beta. So most people wouldn't be able to get keys. And so we will be, hopefully they'll have an open beta for people to try that out later. But you should start seeing a lot more of this streamed on the internet, on Twitch now, with this open beta happening or closed beta happening, because a lot more streamers, a very limited number of people have it right now. So you should start being able to see live streaming of the Darwin project from here on out. So
very cool.
All right. Do you have a preference on anything else?
Nothing in particular, no.
Okay, so let's just jump into H1Z1. We'll finish that up.
Okay.
We talked about most of it already. One thing I was going to mention, they actually did a post. They have a ton of spots. I think 50 or so.
Yes.
58.
Oh, okay.
They have 58 positions open right now. And if you look, they've opened up a lot of positions for that unannounced project. And so I don't know what it is. One thing I found odd on here is they actually,
So clearly, you like we'd have the inside scoop.
I'm sure. Yeah, they're calling us and just saying, "Hey, here's some inside information for the podcast."
Yeah. Oh God.
One thing I found interesting is actually as Lord of the Rings Online, which I didn't realize they had to become the publisher for that. That and Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Didn't know that either.
They are now. They actually run those two games, so which is kind of similar to their EverQuest.
Yeah,
they were doing before. So they have a lot of positions open, like art director, which I guess that means Sebastian's no longer there.
I
possibly
have no idea.
They didn't talk about it.
He vanished for months.
Yeah, lead UI.
Yeah.
I mean, I was asking for a long time. They kept saying he was there, but being that they're filling his position, I'm assuming that he's no longer there. They have just a lot of
typically a pretty good assumption. Like, hey, I'm looking for a co-host for the podcast.
They've been on things saying we're looking to fill your position. So I'm assuming that even though he hasn't announced it, he is gone.
I'm looking for a brand new co-host. So. If anybody is Brian's still here. Brian's still doing the show.
Put that on Reddit. Yeah. Just looking for a co-host for Infection.
Don't worry, everything's fine.
Yeah, don't worry, nothing wrong here. So anyway, I thought that was kind of interesting. If you want to go check those out, there's a lot of they're hiring a lot of positions over there, which I guess is probably good.
Yeah, it is. They're gonna. I mean, they're gonna come out with a new game. Here's the reality of it.
But they're even hiring a lot for H1Z1.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that some of that stuff is fluid. I mean, this is just my personal opinion on this. Clearly, H1Z1 is not going to be the future of Daybreak.
So I think that's why they're going all in on this next title.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's what but that's what game development houses do. Point. I mean, they don't sit and wait for the next big thing. They move from project to project to project. I mean, it's not, for me, it's not surprising.
Yep. All right, and then they actually released a test server update on the 3rd. And so on here, they did an AR recoil reset reduction. The AK-47 reduced fire rate, shotgun fixed pattern, and then they slightly decreased the bullet drop across pistols and rifles. one thing they did is they actually improved. They said they improved the lighting and color vibrancy. So they're trying to make it so the maybe it's not so cartoony. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see some screenshots
Yes.
because if you look at the original H1Z1, the coloring and the look of it was much different than what H1Z1 is now. It's gotten really bright and cartoony, and I'm assuming maybe they're going back to that kind of original. And then preseason 7 will be coming with the next major game update, and during the season we will introduce a beta score system that reflects consistency as well as your top 10. So that they're going to be putting out in this new preseason, having a thing that actually shows your consistency across games. Fall damage, they made an adjustment to fall damage. Explosive arrows are now super effective against vehicles. You can also now loot while reloading. The fifth passenger in a vehicle can now reload and shoot. And then one thing they said they did is they made improvements to the file system to significantly reduce the download size of the game. I'm wondering if that means one thing is that they removed all those extra assets that were sitting in there that were never used.
Probably
they went through and cleaned those out. So the download footprint should be smaller from here on out. So they said they increased the speed of the AR recoil resets to give the user more responsive 2 taps. Because I think that was a lot of the complaint about this recent adjustments they made that people weren't able to do those 2 taps. And I guess they're trying to get that back.
Well, as they should. I mean, my voice is totally shot at this point, but you condition people to play the game a certain way, like get 2 taps. I mean, I'm even having this issue in Call of Duty where I've shot enough where I'm just assume that the player is dead and I move on, and sometimes they're not dead. I've been conditioned to know that after a certain amount of hits, the other character should be dead. And it's just tough when you get rid of that because people, I mean, you just fall into the habit of playing the game a certain way. So that's, I mean,
and so that's the thing is they kind of made a lot of their streamers mad that were very popular because they had the ability to just go in and very accurately 2-tap people. And it looks really good on stream when they're running around just 2-tapping everyone.
Yeah.
I think when they took that away, kind of made the streamers look a little bit bad because they weren't able to do that anymore. And so I think they're trying to get that satisfaction back that the players were feeling. So one thing, okay, so let's go ahead and move on. One thing I was going to mention on Friday the 13th, they actually updated the roadmap and they put a new UR here and actually messaged them on their Discord to make this happen. Because I was hoping to have it before last show because they had their old roadmap on there. And so I messaged Ben and they got this out here a couple days ago. But if you're looking for the new roadmap, it shows just after Halloween.
We are here.
And then what our goals are through Christmas and then through the rest of the year. And I don't know if they're going to be adding any more to this. I think this is pretty much completion, probably the game. Be interesting to see if they are going to announce anything happening after this final map, or if they're considering it done and they're just going to maintain it. So
it's
that is the current state of the game. So Virtual Cabin 2.0 should be the next thing that comes out, and that'll be interesting, especially for that core audience, people that are really F-13 fans. We'll have to have Firebomb let us know, like, if it lives up to the kind of the hype. I think he'll always be hyped, but if it lives up to the hype that you would expect from this.
Yeah, I would hope it would.
So, and then as far as H1Z1, there's Just Survive put out a test server update as well. And one thing they did clarify is they are going to be having both maps.
God almighty.
So they're going to be having servers with one map and servers with the other old map. So they will have Badwater Canyon. So this says this is the first patch for the week, but the later the week they're going to be bringing Badwater Canyon to the test server. Because right now live is on test server, right? They're going to roll live to, or test server to live.
Yes, which would be the
put
old
Badwater
map.
Canyon back on test. So then that's how you're going to play between the two maps at the moment. But then they're going to make it to where you can actually have a choice. One server will have Z1, one server will have Badwater Canyon. And they said they did an update to help improve some of the anti-cheat and exploits. And then they just did a lot of rebalancing. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with this. Will they be able to maintain? I mean, this is two totally separate maps when they're trying to build one map from scratch, and they're going to have to totally rebuild a whole new map. Or are they going to just be relying a lot on the H1Z1 team's map? I kind of have a feeling that they're really going to rely on that, let them do all the work as far as building the map, and then they're going to import it and then make it have loot points and things like that, and kind of tweak it afterwards, because I don't see why they'd work on it two at once.
Well, and then that's what's so frustrating to me. Right? Why don't they just pick a map and stick with it? Like,
Yeah.
You can't. They're going to be developing the new map, Badwater Canyon, the Z1 remaster, and then they're going to also have to keep Z1, continue to do little tweaks on it, because now it's going to be on the live game again. They're going to be managing 3 maps at the same time. That just sounds like a terrible idea. Why would they want to be managing 3 different maps at the exact same time? What is the benefit of that?
Right now, that's the thing. It's a short-term hype.
I guess
the issue is right now people they're getting kind of the positive vibes of everybody saying, "Oh, great, Z1," but in a month and a half, when all that vibe is gone, and then they're having to maintain these maps, they're going to be like, "Why are we doing this?"
Good question.
That all the good feelings are going to be gone at that point.
Yeah, that's a fact.
So, but I still, it's another thing where I just feel like they're kind of back and forth. They just need to make a decision and go with it, and actually complete one of them before they start another new thing. Because I feel like right now they're kind of just going wherever and doing whatever. They're never going to actually finish. So let's go. And one thing I wanted to announce, we also at PAX, we interviewed the team for Hand of Fate. They did release Hand of Fate 2. I actually have a preview copy of this. And I've been able to play a bit of it so far. Like about a half an hour worth of it. And very good job. They it's kind of a mix of a card game with like a RPG type of action where you actually have sword fighting and things like that, but it's a card game. So kind of a unique concept. And so if you're interested in that, right now it's 10% off on Steam, so you can go pick it up.
There you go.
And then also Wild West Online, PH was nice enough to mention this.
Yeah,
They're going into early access, and they said they're going to do a full release later this year, which means in a month. They're going to do full release in a month.
No,
I just don't see.
Well, now that you say that, that's actually what the headline does say. You're correct.
Yeah.
No, it's got to be later next year.
So okay, here. So after a few bumps in the road, the game is progressing at a fair trot. It's held its first alpha test in September, prompting fears that it wouldn't be ready as planned before the end of the year, but it's still due in 2017, says developer 612 Games.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, and this is the one that has the 3 versions. There's been a lot of concern about this, that this is the same people that made War Z, because there's so many mechanics that are identical to War Z, and it's on the same engine.
You're very excited for this,
so
Brian.
It'll be. Well, I don't want these guys to do it.
Yeah, but you made
I like the idea of open world survival, or with a
made game. A very bold prediction on this program about how the next big, it's probably not even in your book, it was that old of a prediction. You made the prediction it is. What does it say? Can you read it for us? You literally,
because it was one of our.
It was one of the first things.
The next major game genre will be open world Western survival. We don't have a date.
This is not a hot start for your genre, though. I mean,
no, but
I mean, look at this.
These guys, yeah,
that's the feel.
So, yeah. So the thing is, and so that it had to have been about a year ago that I made that prediction, because no, you took the beard afterwards. I think it was at the beginning of this year that I made that prediction.
I'm just gonna do the show like
it was. Well, it was the
first do the show like this.
So it was right after PAX.
This is how I'm gonna do the show from now on. It's just
thing.
Brian, my co-host.
It was right after PAX, and so, but I think with And do you want me to reiterate why I think this?
I mean, if you want to,
it's not just, it's not all just, it's not something I dreamed. But they're going to be having Westworld come out 2018. What the new version or the new season of Westworld's coming out. We're going to have Red Dead Redemption 2 come out, and just kind of that open world. Still, that's an untapped area, and I think that this guy who kind of puts out these War Z style games, he also tries to kind of see these predictions of where he thinks it's going to go, and he usually tries to beat him to it with a poorly made game just to be the first one out there to get people to buy it. Because I think he did that with some other games when zombie survival was the big thing. So I think that I think we have studios out there that are going to surprise people about the time that Westworld comes out and release an actual closer to AAA style open world Western. So I still hold to my prediction that I think that that's going to be the next major genre that happens. Because right now we're kind of in the PUBG battle royale genre, right? It was zombies. Right now it's battle royale is the genre to be, and I think the next one will be open world Western.
Yeah. Now,
and I'm sticking to it.
That I think brings us to closer to the end of the show, and because a note I had when we were talking about Call of Duty was, and what I wanted to get from your opinion is, what did it feel like to play a AAA game? A final finished product with all of the features in the game.
For me, like, it's a night and day difference. I mean, it's closer to, if you look at like Overwatch. Overwatch is equivalent as a AAA title, right? Very polished, and we're used to playing when we go and do these games that are more shoot 'em up first persons. Lately, it's been a lot of alpha titles, and everything is just like, there's always that excuse. Okay, the shotgun doesn't work. Okay, it's alpha, bro.
Yeah, alpha, bro.
All right, it's all this stuff doesn't work. Okay, alpha, bro. Get over it. Well, it's nice to go in a game, and the only reason things aren't working is because I don't know how to work them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not because the game doesn't work right. It's not because the shotgun's broken. It's not because all these guns are broken. They may not be tuned 100%. They may be retuning them based on adjustments of how people are playing with them. But the only reason that anything is wrong or my score is bad in that game is because I just don't know how to play it yet. Right. And that's what it comes down to. And so it's nice to actually play a game where I'm the limitation, and it's not the engine that's the limitation. It's not because the code is bad that's the limitation. It's not just because they're leaving bugs in there because they don't want to get to them yet. Yeah. So, Falcon Watch, he brings up, the game's been in alpha for how many years. But the thing is we don't see that. Like, they don't give us access. They fix the bugs internally, and then they release us the final product, so we don't have to live through and get tired of it before it ever even gets to release. So, I mean, I've enjoyed it, and this is, as I said, the first like online game that I've done on the PS4. So it's the first time I've had to activate the PlayStation Plus and actually play online with people.
Yeah, there's definitely a nice thing about everything that is in the game is playable, works as it should, and is there.
And any kind of bugs like connection issues and things like that, like you have a feeling that that's going to be fixed over the next couple of days.
Yeah, but I just
6 months from now it may be fixed.
Exactly. And I don't, every game always everywhere has connection issues. That's not anything that I can deal with connection, and they've gotten significantly better from like day one or whatever. It's just so nice to play a polished game.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, because we do play, I mean, PUBG is a pretty polished game, but every week there's like new features added, and like this mechanic, there's no mechanics that are going to change in this game. Like, this game is how it's going to be.
That's the thing. You can't sit there and master and hone that game. Like, PUBG changes, the guns change, like they're still tweaking everything. And this is what happened with the H1Z1, as I said just a little bit ago. they went then in and changed what people had honed themselves in to be able to do with those 2 taps. Then they went and changed it, and then they had to go and totally redo how they play the game to adjust to it or stop playing. Probably you're not going to have that happen. That's what's the beauty of CS:GO. That's the beauty of even Overwatch, is people can play it over and over and over again and figure out the most effective and the most efficient and the way that they can be the best at that exact thing. And then their goal is just to be better than everyone else, right? And us being in alpha games constantly, we don't have that ability because everything's changing on a monthly basis. And no one's around long enough, or there's so many hackers that there's no point into trying to hone something in, because you're just going to have hackers come to mess up whatever thing you do anyway. So I don't know. I think that's the big difference is on this. Like, I can keep trying different things until I find what works best. And I know that once I figure it out, like, it's going to stay the same.
Yes. And it will. That's a fact. I mean, that is the nice thing. Obviously, they can make little tweaks to gun balance and a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But the game is the game.
Going to be the same.
Exactly. And, which is nice. It's just nice to know that the game is going to stay consistent. Now there's going to be some new maps added in. There's going to be there won't be new weapons, but there's new stuff.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's nice.
So let's cover a few things before we close out the show. But one thing I wanted to mention is we got a lot of our community members playing WoW right now against all my warnings. Everybody's getting into WoW. So, which more power to them. WoW is a great game, but I'm not going to get into it because now's not a good time. If I were sitting half my day and saying I don't know what to do with all my time, I would say WoW is a great game to play.
I'd say WoW.
Yeah. WoW is a great game to play, but right now I'm not going to give up half my days. But for the people that are playing, if you're interested in joining them, they're creating level 100 characters and playing through some of the newer content. Because I guess when you buy Legion, you get a level 100 character. And so if you're interested in joining them for that, or if you're into WoW and you want to create a character on their server and play around with them, I would encourage you to go join our Discord and help them.
And kind of related, but also unrelated, StarCraft 2 is now free. Not related to anything we talk about. But when I think of a game, I think of WoW and StarCraft as the same caliber game in terms of once you start playing it. You don't casually play StarCraft 2. I mean, you can, but you're not going to be any good ever. It's kind of the same thing with WoW. You can't, for the most part, just dabble in. I've never played it, but from what I've seen and what I've heard about the game, you don't just dabble in it.
People keep saying, well, you should just come in and play. And I keep saying, you know what? You don't understand. I've already got however many level 100 characters. For me, playing is there's an objective to it. Like when I play, I want to get to the rating, and I realize the amount of time that it takes to be able to do that in the way that I enjoy doing it. And so I just know that I wouldn't allow myself to play right now the amount of time that I know is needed for me to enjoy that game correctly.
There you go.
And all it would be doing is just running around and hanging out with people, which is fun, but I'd just be running around the world just doing little stuff here and there and just messing around the whole time, which is not, for me, the most enjoyable way to play that game. And so, and it's $15 a month. And if I'm just going to be running around and messing around, and not really doing anything because I know that I don't want to commit that much time to it, it's not worth the $15 a month. If I were going to commit the amount of time needed, $15 is worth it. Just like, I'm spending money to play Call of Duty because I'm going to commit that amount of time to play that. But for WoW, to do it right, you need 5 hours a day. And I'm not going to commit 5 hours a day to play WoW right.
At least not right now.
Not right now. Maybe if I get an accident and I'm handicapped or I have to sit in a chair all day in a hospital, that would be the perfect time. while I'm recovering. That would be great. Have WoW, because you can sit there and you can play it for 12 hours a day and it's great. But I got too much stuff to do and I can't sit and play all day.
And there you go. Alrighty. Quickly, current players, and then we'll wrap it up.
Let's go and announce.
Oh yeah, sure.
The game first, giveaway. Let's do the last game giveaway. So it'd be once again exclamation point giveaway, and 30 points. I'll spell it right though. All right, so I'm going to be giving away. I don't think I did this. Did I do Grim Fandango last week? I don't think I did. Just want to make sure I'm not giving away an extra copy.
Don't remember.
No, I did Day of the Tentacle. Okay, so we're going to be doing a copy of Grim Fandango Remastered, which is, as it says, a remaster of an old game. And so there's, back in the day when they made these games, they put a ton of content into them. And this game right now is $14.99, but if you look at the amount of content that they used to put in games as far as stuff you could do and how long it took to beat it, this game is worth a lot more than $14.99. And they enhanced the graphics. It's got very positive ratings. They put this one out in 2015. But if you're into, maybe you played the original Grim Fandango. But if not, it's still great. There's a great story to it, and it takes a while to actually beat. So check it out. Grim Fandango Remastered. As I said, $14.99 right now. And all you have to do is put exclamation point giveaway in chat, and you'll have a chance to win it.
Absolutely. Go ahead and enter for that. We're going to do a quick game giveaway. Quick current players here as I struggle to keep my voice. Currently playing H1Z1 King of the Kill, 10,457. The 24-hour peak, 30,559, with a 7-day peak of 42,537. That is King of the Kill. Ark Survival Evolved, currently playing that, 24,484. The 24-hour peak, 41,435, with a 7-day peak of 63,504. And then finally here, Player Unknown's Battlegrounds, currently playing this, 24,484. Excuse me. I was reading the wrong number. 400,669 currently playing that for PUBG. The 24-hour peak, 2.3 million at 2,337,139. And the 7-day peak is up about 250,000 from last week at 2,557,336. And of course, we mentioned just about 20 million copies. According to Steam Spy, it's not 20 million yet, but I've seen 20 million, and Steam Spy isn't.
Yeah, that's what he said.
Steam Spy isn't like if you mouse over Steam Spy, it tells you it's just it's an estimate of copies sold. It's not an exact. You can block it somehow. So, there's current players.
Well, I think if someone does like a private account,
I guess
it doesn't have the ability to see what games, because I think that what they're doing is scraping all of the different clients out there and looking at the statistics of what games they have, what they're playing, things like that to figure this out. So 20 million, which is pretty crazy.
Very
all right.
Crazy.
So one thing we didn't talk about was Rust. So if you're interested in that, and one note I was going to make, you may have noticed that if you play Rust, that something went wrong with some of the servers and the map. They said they actually have a post out there that talks about it, that they were a little too hasty and trying to put too many features into the next patch. They messed up and it corrupted some of the servers and messed up things on the maps. And so they fixed that issue, and they'll do, people do wipes where they need to. But that did happen. And then we'll have a video and notes for 184 if you want to go check that out. And that'll be in our show notes. Also, I think that just as a reminder, H1Z1 for Friday. So make sure you show up 8 o'clock Eastern if you want to play that. And that's it.
You're not doing tip of the week?
All right. I didn't write it down, but I do have a tip.
What?
Sorry. All right. So one thing that
I've got actually... Where's Brian Aldridge?
I have it in here.
Too much Call of Duty rot in your brain is what it is. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I have no idea why I didn't. And I always type it here.
I'm just.
But
Thank
for
God I'm
some
on my
reason,
A
I
game
just
tonight.
didn't.
As you can tell, on my A game over here. You would
Yeah,
have just
I don't. I
rolled right
before
through
I
it.
got on here, I was like, I need to type it in. All right. So anyway, so tip of the week's where I go through and either I talk about a specific game or a general gaming tip. This week is going to be specific to Ark. So this is tip of the week. All right. So for tip of the week, I wanted to talk about spending your points inside of Ark. And because that's something that people always seem to ask, which ones should I put my points into as you're leveling up? Because each time you get a level, you can put points into like health, fortitude, how much weight you can carry. And so there's actually, this is important because once you get to the end levels, then you'll be able to craft something that will let you reset those points. But up until that point, you may be stuck with, if you put all of your points into health, great, you have a lot of health, but you don't have the ability to carry anything. And so there's kind of a balance to this. One thing that I would encourage you to do is initially kind of aim at having your health at around 200 points. And that's a nice point of you'll be able to stay alive. So kind of spread these points out to hit these numbers. But for your health, aim at 200 points. So for stamina, you're aiming for about 180. For movement speed, you can do about 120. And that should help it to where, and the reason you want to do 120 movement speed is because you'll be able to outrun some of the dinosaurs at the later game that maybe will try to eat you. And that way they'll have less of a chance to be able to keep up with you. And it's important. The reason that you want to put some stuff into carry weight is mainly because you'll be carrying around some heavy equipment at the later game. As you get to the colder levels, up at the higher levels of your character, you'll get to the snow biomes. You'll be carrying all of this fur gear, and you won't have the ability to carry it if your weight isn't high enough. So just make sure that with your weight, if you get to around 380-ish, that should be a healthy amount. But if you get to 380, maybe a little bit over, depending on how much stuff you want to carry, you'll find that you're still able to carry a lot of resources. Maybe you're harvesting things, be able to carry all that gear, but it won't be excessive to where it's wasted at that point. So, and then once you get to about level 30, just one thing you probably should do is start saving your Ingram points. And one thing you want to do is save them, because you'll have some expensive things coming up that maybe you want to build. It's great in the first 30 levels to just kind of buy everything that you see, but maybe save them up a little bit after level 30, because then you don't have enough to go around for everything. So you may have to kind of focus on building like a grinder, some of the resource type of things, or maybe for advanced building. So start saving those up. And then once you get to the higher levels and you start realizing what you're going to use and what you're not going to use, then you can turn around and start spending the 500 to 1,000 points that you've saved up at that point. So as you're spending points, hopefully that helps you out. Just like little things like oxygen and things like that. That just depends if you're going to be in the water. Those you can spend if you feel like you need it. But those are the main important ones that you will be using on a daily basis when you play Ark. So that is tip of the week.
Alrighty, and thank you very much, Brian.
And I'll put those notes. Sorry, I didn't put them in the show notes. So
that's
I will
fine.
Put them in from here.
We're all good.
Very good. All right. So if you want to find us, make sure that you go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. And if you're not in our Discord yet, I would encourage you to go check it out. Just click on the right-hand side, a little button that says join server, and that will take you into our Discord. We got 71 people in there right now. And as I said, they're playing WoW, and we've got people playing PUBG and Rust. We're playing Elite Dangerous. People play Ark and H1Z1 and other games, whatever games that you're interested in. If you are looking for a community of people to play them with you, I would encourage you to come check us out. Of course, we have our Steam group. If you're looking for notifications of when the live show starts, just to get a little reminder, follow us on YouTube, and make sure that we have a lot of people supporting the show. That's great. But you can, if you just show some support by following us or liking us or whatever you can do, maybe give us a review. And thank you for the people that have donated to the dedicated server fund.
Yes.
And hopefully we'll have that up here in the next couple of weeks. We'll get it ordered and get it up and have some fun games for the group to play. And then get a consistent game that people are playing, or a couple games that people are playing over the weeks. So I encourage you to try that out. And if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or biteoftech.com is the my website. And that's where I'm at on the internet. So
and I guess
thank you, and hopefully we'll see you at Friday night game night.
Absolutely. We've got to draw a raffle here for our...
Oh, yeah. I am just rolling on with
Jeez,
it. All right.
Brian. I mean, you're just all over the place.
All right. Congratulations, Valp. Valp1 has won, and I will send you... Valp1 has won. Valp1 is actually his name. There's a 1 in his name, and he has won the game. So congratulations. I will send that in a message. You should see it in your other messages here in the next 10 minutes.
All righty. I believe that's going to do it then. Again, of course, our website, infectionpodcast.com, where you can go and get full show notes. Literally 147 shows worth of video, audio, and for the most part, full show notes. All the links, stories, screenshots, pretty much everything that we talk about is listed in those show notes. Every episode is listed on there, infectionpodcast.com. Subscribe to us on YouTube, and on the right-hand side of the website, there's a whole bunch of different ways you can subscribe to the show. The email notification is nice if you're somebody that does a lot of stuff based on email, or you could subscribe on pretty much any podcast app that is available. Ladies and gentlemen, you can follow me on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. Of course, visit our website, infectionpodcast.com. That's going to do it for episode 147 of Infection. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you next time.